Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to film for you guys. I'm in a new location and the lighting is pretty fantastic, and today I wanted to film a really important video for you guys. I know I feel like I say that in every single video, but I do feel like these concepts are important. I like to read a lot of self-help books. That's just the books that I like to read. I find them like really encouraging and really empowering, and honestly help me like cope through whatever it is I'm feeling, and like anxiety and stress and stuff like that. So I listen to Audible. This is not sponsored by Audible, although I wish it was. I just throw on the book and I'll be walking and it's super easy. But I've been listening to this book called Girl Wash Your Face, and it is literally the best book I've ever listened to. It's by Rachel Hollis, and pretty much what it's about is her talking to her fan base, because she's a blogger and she has like millions of followers, and telling them how life on social media can seem like it's so perfect. And she, you know, tells us all about the lies that she's been telling herself over the years and how they're not true, and how she learned they were not true, and what lessons she kind of learned from them. One of the lessons she learned was why she wasn't a perfect mom, and that's kind of the lie that she told herself for so many years. Like, I'm not good enough, I'm a busy working mom, I'm not there for them enough, I don't dress my kids the same way, I don't participate enough in their classrooms, and I'm not, you know, the mom who hand makes their costumes and all of this stuff. And she says that everyone is the perfect mom in their own way, and I think that's so true. Nobody parents the same way. Everyone's going to react to a certain situation with their child differently, and that's okay. Everyone's gonna respond differently to different situations that they're put in with their child. So there's no guide telling you what to do in every scenario, but there are certain things that we can do on a day-to-day basis to help us improve and make things a little bit easier. Also, I just wanted to point out, I really feel like I need to share this with you guys, because I feel like eventually I will start getting a lot of questions about it. I'm obviously not a mom, but what I would like to do on this channel is to help mothers promote positive relationships with their children. I come from a place where I didn't have that. I didn't really have a great relationship with my mom, especially like once I hit my early teenage years. And my dad, you know, he passed away when I was young, and that kind of had a really powerful effect on my mother, as it would, but she also wasn't working at the time. So when you put something so high on a pedestal and you lose your sense of drive and motivation, obviously you're gonna go crazy a little bit. So that's another story. Anyways, yeah, so I didn't really come from a place where I always had a positive relationship with my parents. But today I really wanted to focus on certain things that we can do to make these stressful times with our children a little bit easier. And that just starts with having a positive relationship, speaking to your child. What do normal conversations for you and your child look like on a day-to-day basis? What do you guys talk about? How do you guys talk to each other? You know, what sort of mannerisms are you using? How can we help make it a nurturing and growing environment where we both feel comfortable talking to each other, and we don't feel like we're stepping on eggshells when we talk to each other, especially like when kids get into their teenage years. I know it can have, you know, their hormones are crazy, you're stressed, they're stressed, and it can just be like a battle that you feel like you're constantly fighting. And honestly, these relationships start when they're young. There's a theory called Bowdley's attachment theory, and it's basically when you have an infant, they have this precursory instinct to follow human figures, and that starts with their mother, obviously, like listening to their mother. And so basically what that looks like is they will listen to how the mother responds based on what they're doing, whether that be clinging, crying, their facial expressions, stuff like that. And they learn from how their mother responds to those cues and how responsive she is to those cues. And that's kind of how they develop this sense of trust with, I can rely on this person and I know that they're going to be there for me, support me. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about how when they're infants, that's when they instantly develop the connection to you. And it's how they learn to trust other people based on how you're responding to these cues. And I just wanted to go back because obviously we're not going to be able to be attentive and attuned to our children 24/7. That's just impossible. Like, you can't do that. When they get to later adolescence, it becomes a little bit more difficult to be so attentive and attuned, especially when you're dealing with your own stress. But I think the main point I'm trying to make here is how we respond during these times where you guys are arguing or disagreeing, because there are going to be disagreements. You're going to fight with your child. It's just going to happen. There's going to be a certain kind of disruption during this disagreement and interaction where your relationship is kind of in a tizzy. So what we can do is take those few extra minutes to pause, think about how we're going to respond, both of you on both sides. There are going to be times where you and your child are in a disagreement. That's inevitable, especially when they're in their when they're a teenager. Their home runs are going, you're stressed at work, you're stressed about cleaning the house, doing this, doing that, whatever. And there are going to be times when you guys are arguing and it's going to create a disrupt in your relationship, your interaction with each other. But the one thing that we can do that has such a profound effect on these moments of disagreement is, instead of taking the time and screaming at them and yelling at them, because I know it's probably what you're going to want to do in that moment, and rip your hair out and throw something across the room, you're going to want to do that because you are thinking about so many other things. This is not something you need to be worrying about, because it's probably going to be a stupid argument over something so small. Take a few seconds, take a minute at most. Think about this interaction. Really think about it. What way can you respond that will be calming and mindful and help them understand that this doesn't need to be a disagreement, this doesn't need to disrupt your relationship? Take those few extra moments to respond in a helpful way. Turn this situation into a positive one rather than a negative one. Because those are the things they're going to look for when they go and have this disagreement with you again. They're going to follow in your footsteps. And these moments of disagreement are not going to happen with just you. That's why they're so powerful, because they will take that situation and they will incorporate it somewhere else into their other relationships with other people. We don't need to let small things disrupt our relationship. Especially because if this happens, it's not going, and it's a messy fight, it's going to keep happening. And then this might become normal. This might be the way they would normally interact with other relationships. They're not, everything you do in your home, they are going to take it out into the world. That's why we have to be careful. And it's why I react some ways. That's why I have small moments when I get angry and frustrated and I feel like I'm ready to explode because I don't know how to properly respond. They're just moments. Obviously, I've learned over the years to deal with it and cope with it, and why I read self-help books, for example. But there are moments where I feel frustrated because I remember the way my mom talked to me. I remember the way I talked back to my mom. It's just little things where they constantly stick with you, and then you have to learn to grow out of it. But you can do prevention, intervention at home so that these things don't happen. And it's small things that we don't even think about that will have such a profound effect on our child's life. And it's small things that you can do to prevent it. I hope I made myself a little bit more clear with my intentions of this channel, and I hope you guys learned something from this video because, again, that's why I'm here. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and please stay tuned for more, and don't forget to like, and don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe.